You're welcome to a new episode of Mental Ish. My name is Temi Tokwe and today we'll be talking about the topic stop seeking validation. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because a lot of persons are guilty of this, a lot of us are guilty of this without even recognizing or realizing it. Now, the reason why most people seek validation is because they want to be accepted, they want to be applauded, they want to be celebrated, which is understandable because, all of these things, it's just human nature to want these things. So, I'm going to tell you a very short story about myself. So when I was growing up, I think I was about 6 or 7 years old at the time, but I was in primary school at the time. And I remember back then, I used to have people tease me that, oh, you're very black, and things like that. Like we were not all black in school, but clearly, I have more melanin than a lot of the other kids. So they were always teasing me in school. And I realized that for the longest of time, I did not really like my skin color and I wanted to be light skinned. And also, it didn't even help that my mom is light skinned. So I wanted to be light skinned for the longest of time. And then when I grew up at some point, I finally spoke to myself and asked, why do I even want to be light skinned? Right. And then I realized that it was because this was what was acceptable. This was what was, no, not acceptable. Acceptable is not the word. This was what was appreciated at the time, right? Women who were light skinned tended to have more opportunities and were regarded to be much more pretty than dark women. And then, at the time, you had a lot of women bleaching their skins and all of that. But then, luckily for me, I found myself. I discovered my identity. I discovered who I am, that I am more than my skin color. I have so much beauty in me. I have so much to offer the world that my skin color is even an addition, a plus, right? Because if I am able, or when I am able to fulfill destiny, when I am able to achieve my dreams and my purpose, that way I would also be encouraging a lot of girls or women that look like me that this is possible. So I feel like finding myself, finding my identity was what helped me. And then at that point, I started to care for myself more. I started to love myself more. I started to care for myself, and I eventually fell in love with my skin color. Now, fast forward to many years after, I took my first trip to Cyprus. It was a work trip, right? And then there was this woman in the elevator, clearly having a different skin color than me. And then she just kept looking at me in awe and admiration. And then eventually, when I was stepping out of the elevator, she just had to tell me, wow, you are a very beautiful black girl. And I'm like, I just smiled and I said, thank you. And at that point, I remembered when just a few years back, I did not even like my skin color. And here was someone telling me how beautiful my skin looks, right? And let me also say this: at this point, I didn't even need the woman's validation because that day I knew I was looking like a badass. So I didn't even need anybody to tell me that you're looking good. I knew I was looking so good, right? So getting the compliment was just a plus. There's this thing my friends always say that, oh, when you compliment someone, she's going to say, thank you, I know. And I actually say that, but of course, that's if you're close to me or if I'm close to you, or if I'm comfortable with you. And I honestly do not mean that in a cocky way, I promise. I feel like it's just self-awareness, right? Yes, it's good to get compliments. I love to get compliments. I am a human being. But I'm saying I do not do things for people to compliment me or applaud me, right? So you do not have to seek anybody's validation. Just get to that point where you love yourself, where you become true to yourself, where you care for yourself. And at that point, you don't even care about what anybody's thinking about you. Because you know what? Honestly, nobody's thinking about you, right? Now, we have a lot of social media influencers that go broke, that live above their means because they want to project a certain lifestyle. They want people to love them. They want a lot of people to follow them. They want to be attractive to a lot of people. And then when they are by themselves, A lot of them are actually broken and depressed. Now, do you want to look like you have become, or do you actually want to become? Whatever thing you do in this life, I feel like always ask yourself the motive behind it. For instance, you get a very fancy car, a beautiful car, a flashy car, and then you post it on social media. Now, what's your motive? Are you posting it because you want people to feel like, oh, I have arrived, I have this, I have that? Or are you doing it because you feel like you want to encourage or inspire people, that at a time you couldn't afford this, and with hard work and consistency, that brought you here, and that is why you are here. So, what is your motive? I ask you. Are you seeking validation? So, I am saying that stop seeking validation, stop hurting yourself because you want people to accept you. Stop compromising because you want people to accept you. Everything you do in life, just ensure that it aligns with your values. Now, I have a particular video on the subject, your values, your compass to life. I have it somewhere on this page. I'll get the link and drop it down below so you can go back to watch it. Just ensure that you are living by your values. Personally, I do not feel like God blessed you to pepper people or to make some other people feel less of themselves. I honestly do not feel like that is why God decided to bless you. I feel like whatever you're doing, you should not seek validation, right? That's why you see some persons who have some form of limitation, some certain limitation, but yet they are able to achieve big things. You see some disabled people, some handicapped people, and you see the kind of things that they have been able to achieve that even a lot of people who are complete have not been able to achieve. Why is that? That's because they looked past their limitation. But with that being said, focus your attention on what really matters, like making a difference in life, making an impact, and not just about getting validation or seeking validation. So, with that being said, that brings us to the end of Mental Ish today. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, share this video, and you can always leave your comments down below. Right? Thank you so much. Bye, guys.